and had planned their trip down to the very last detail. The cruise was paid for, flights arranged and a taxi pre-booked. But the cab failed to arrive in time and the pair missed their flight. Now Rihanna's family's demanding compensation, but the taxi company says it's not to blame. Graham Butler reports it'll now be decided by the courts.
It is outrageous. Look, it's a regrettable situation.
I feel very angry because we did everything right.
It is first available taxi.
I feel very strongly about it. It's a service that's letting us down. It's the taxi company are at fault. Full stop.
Glenys Hopkin is furious. Furious with Perth's black and white cabs.
You do the right thing. You book a taxi. You book it in plenty of time. You put your faith in them. And they let you down.
Let down because a cab failed to show up in time for an early morning fare. Glenys's intellectually disabled daughter Rihanna was waiting to go to the airport. The taxi was booked the day before.
What do you do? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, you've booked a taxi, you've done the right thing. You know, you're reliant upon a taxi because there's no buses, no public transport at 4:30 in the morning.
Rihanna and her carer were due to catch a flight to Sydney for a Pacific cruise.
She was just excited, thoroughly excited, and couldn't sleep and just kept on saying, when's it happening, when are we going, and just really happy.
In Rihanna's world, structure and routine are important. She's happy when she knows exactly what's happening. And the carefully laid out plan that morning was for a taxi to arrive at 4:30 a.m.
She would have got up early, she would have been excited, got dressed and expected the taxi to arrive at 4:30 because that's the way she is. And then she would have got very anxious. And when the taxi didn't turn up, I could imagine that all sorts of emotions would have gone through and she would have been devastated.
Rihanna's carer Susie was accompanying Rihanna on her holiday.
On the 9th of May, I booked a taxi saying that I need a taxi to go to the airport at 4:30 on the 10th of May. And she said, yes, I will send you a taxi on the 10th of May at 4:30. And she took all the details down. And she said, it'll be there.
But at 4:30 that morning, no taxi.
No taxi, that's when I rang to say, where's the taxi which I booked? And the operator said, can I have your name, your address? I said, it's all in your computer system. Then again, another 10 minutes later, I rang and said, where's the taxi? And she still kept asking me the same question. I said, it's all in your computer system. I rang again 10 minutes later. At 5:30, the taxi showed up.
It was an hour late.
Got to the airport at 6 o'clock. The plane left at 5:55. I missed the plane. Upset. And devastated over the whole episode. Especially to Rihanna. With her condition, what she was, did not help her.
Having missed the flight, Susie was forced to pay for new airfares so they could make it to Sydney in time to board their cruise ship.
If she hadn't have had that credit card, she would have been stuck there in the airport with Rihanna, who, I don't know what would have happened, but there would have been tears, there would have been wails. She would have been absolutely inconsolable.
While Rihanna and Susie eventually got to enjoy their cruise, Rihanna's mum Glenys is demanding compensation from Black and White for the $2,500 spent on replacement airfares.
I want them to take responsibility because they're in the wrong. We're not in the wrong. Susie wasn't in the wrong. They didn't turn up. They didn't fulfil their side of the bargain. Why should we be out of pocket when we've done the right thing?
Black and White Cab says it did everything it could to get a taxi on time and it won't be making any compensation payment. It also says the onus is on the driver, not them, for a taxi to turn up. And it points out that under the Taxi Act, the arranging of a taxi is defined as a request. Black and White Cabs wouldn't be interviewed. Ollie Williams is from the WA Taxi Council.
There's no such thing as a guaranteed cab.
On time?
On time. There's no such thing as a guaranteed bus on time or a ferry or a plane.
Taxi companies like Black and White ask drivers to take jobs. They can't order them. In the case of a booking, that request is supposed to go out an hour before the due pickup time.
Jobs are not allocated to taxis until about an hour before the job, primarily because one can never tell where that taxi is going to be in the hours prior to a job.
But a Transport Department investigation found that the request for Rihanna's taxi was only dispatched at 4:10 a.m, just 20 minutes before the booked time, and the job was only allocated to a driver an hour later at 5:10 a.m. The cab arrived at 5:30, an hour late.
I think if you make a booking with a taxi company the night before, and specifically for a trip overseas or some other important event, then you expect the taxi to roll up.
Lawyer John Hammond believes there is a legal obligation on taxi companies to honour bookings and turn up on time.
Yeah, I believe there is a binding contract once the taxi company says, yes, we will arrive, and the customer understands that there is a time by which he or she will be picked up.
And Mr Hammond says Glenys should demand compensation.
I believe the taxi company can be sued for whatever loss the person has incurred by reason of the taxi not turning up.
We asked the Taxi Council whether it thinks a booking is a legal contract.
I would say no, and I won't make any further comment on it.
And it's time people like Glenys brought them to account because so many people get frustrated, angry and tired of waiting around and taxis never showing. And they also never tell you that they're not going to show.
It is unfortunate, and it is one of those, it is an issue that is faced by very few people, but those that do experience it will be telling you about it. More than 99% of booked jobs are picked up within 15 minutes of their booking time.
Glenys is taking her case for compensation against Black and White to the Small Claims Tribunal.
You've taken the booking, you've made the arrangements, fulfil them. They can't be relied upon to do their job. And what is their job? To take people to their destination on time.
WA taxis complete 26 million fares a year, and the vast majority of passengers are happy enough with the service. But Glenys believes it's an industry that can still do better, and she's hoping her battle for compensation can help bring changes.
It's regulated, it should be doing the job it's meant to do. It's not doing that job. It's letting people down at a very vulnerable time. So get their act together, for goodness sake.
You can read more details about this report on our website.